Hello, everybody. This is Greg McFerry, and I am here with Kevin Hodgson. Did I say that right, Kevin? I always say your last name wrong.
Hogdson.
Hodgson. Yeah, I was there. I've known Kevin, gosh, since the first Massachusetts New Literacy Institute, probably 5, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
One of the few people in these online spaces where I've met actually face to face. And Kevin is going to talk a little about his experience in open courses and how it relates to leadership, and then how that leadership is, recognized through different complexities in text. So Kevin, my general thesis and what Sarah and I are working on, I should say, not mine, is this idea that there's some kind of leadership in these open courses that exists, and the kind of communication, that community that gets built. I haven't been able to recreate informal learning spaces. Like if I have an online class in school, yeah, I'll use all the same tools. I'll use, try to use the same kind of like makes, but it's just, I can't get that special sauce. And I think a lot of that has to do with the people involved. And so that's what we're talking about today, is a little bit of, what is that special sauce? Like, what makes these courses so special? Why do people keep coming back? I'm looking at your map now. Oops. I'm trying to look at your map now. There it is. And seeing that you've done, your first class was the DL MOOC in 2013. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I did that after CL MOOC, so
CL
maybe the timing was off a little bit.
Okay, so CL MOOC might have been first. So tell me about why did you start doing these courses? What drew you to your first course, whether it was CL MOOC or CL MOOC stands for Connected Learning MOOC for everybody, and I'm thinking Digital Literacies MOOC is the DL MOOC?
Yeah, actually Deeper Learning.
Oh, Deeper Learning. I remember that one, yeah.
Well, I think, I got involved in the CL MOOC because of the National Writing Project, which I'll probably refer to quite a number of times here if we're talking, as the kind of laying the foundation for why I was interested in a lot of these different spaces. I think when we think about leadership and how to help people kind of see themselves in that way, I think that for my experience, it's always kind of back to how I was invited to kind of do different things within our local writing project.
Mm-hmm.
So my local writing project, Western Mass Writing Project, is part of the National Writing Project, and with the philosophy of teachers being at the center of everything, teachers are always invited to become kind of leaders of programs, of professional development, of different projects. And I think that kind of philosophy really interested me early on as a young teacher, and thinking about the possibilities for kind of what might happen. So the National Writing Project is the one with some grant money decided to kind of design this connected learning MOOC the first 3 years, and then actually this summer, as they moved on to some other things, a bunch of us just kind of decided to take it over and run it ourselves.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize that this last round, and I didn't do this is the first CL MOOC I kind of skipped out on, that it was absolutely 100% user and participant driven, like that the National Writing Project stepped back.
Yeah, we because their focus this year has been Letters on the President project,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a number of us who didn't want to see the CL MOOC kind of disappear. So I would say there are about 12 to 15 of us working behind the scenes to design and kind of run the CL MOOC this past summer we did 3 weeks this past summer, 3 kind of make cycles, and pulled in. Well, we put out a call early to say, is anybody interested in helping run this? And, we got a pretty good response. And so that told us that this idea of, crowdsourcing it as leadership, I think, was really interesting, because, quite frank, we didn't know whether it'd just be like 2 of us or 3 of us trying to do something. But it turned out there were 12 to 15 of us kind of all joining forces to kind of help run it, which I think is really kind of cool.
It's awesome, because my first one that I tried to design and run myself, Quest in the Web, I think had like 3 people in it. Like, I just didn't have that. I didn't have that star power that the National Writing Project behind it, or
yeah.
But this year's CL MOOC. Go ahead.
You couldn't have done that the first year.
Yeah.
So also establishing the ethos of the space and the expectations of people, and then building on their excitement from years past too. I think is a kind of key part of that. I think it's hard to just say, here's what we're going to do next month, and who's going to join me? And,
Yeah.
You might have a core couple of friends, but not the kind of big crowd that we're looking for.
Let's go back to that ethos of the space. What would you say is the ethos of Seal MOOC or any? Or are these ethoses different? Is the DS-106 ethos slightly? Is it different from the Seal MOOC? Like what ethos do they have in common? What do they just play with the word ethos a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the underlying philosophy of both of those spaces and some of the other ones is that any entry point is the right entry point for anyone. And I think that, that idea of you can come in and follow your own kind of muse in a different way, and whatever you do is completely acceptable. And I think, I know part of the intentional messaging of the Seal MOOC over the years, and Joe Dillon, one of my friends who's kind of behind the scenes in other years, has been really articulate about this, that however you kind of enter the space is perfectly, you're right where you should be, right at the right time, even if you're on the outside just watching. And I think trying to value that, and I think that's DS-106 too. I know some people use it as material for their actual courses, but a lot of it's just kind of open. You come in when you want to come in, you do what you want to do, and then you leave when you want to leave. And I think that kind of open entry point and a welcoming message around that is really a key part of any kind of open learning space.
Nice. Thanks. And then, so was there anyone that you can remember that really inspired you, like a person early on, or was it maybe a make that somebody else did? Was there any, or this was just your philosophy kind of led you here?
Well, I think that, because it's the underlying philosophy of the writing project that, that I was already fairly attuned to that idea of teachers kind of coming together to do different things. So I think that was a natural kind of progression from that space, I think. I mean, for me, like in the writing project, I always kind of call up to my friend Paul O, who was at our writing project, and he was my first year at our writing project. He was leaving to work at the National Writing Project, and I've told the story before, but my tech skills were very low. But he can identify me as somebody that he wanted to take over his slot at our writing project as a tech liaison at that point.
So, what year are we in now? Because I'm interested that you say that your tech skills were low.
Yeah, so this was 2002, maybe.
2002, okay.
And I don't know what he saw in me, but I appreciate it. I think that idea of being able to, think of how, he and other leaders at the site and now as one of the leaders of the site, always kind of looking for potential people that maybe they don't know, right? That they don't know they have, and trying to tap into that.
How did your tech skills grow in these courses? Would you say they were a major part of it, a little part of it? Is there a relationship between these courses and your digital literacy skills or tech skills or whatever?
I was looking at the chart that you kind of asked me to make and thinking about that question a lot. And I think, one of the things I noticed was the open learning spaces that had a lot of open doors. In other words, I was free to kind of explore in the way I wanted. I felt like I probably learned more doing that.
Okay.
And the ones that are on the bottom left of the grid, I think, were a little more closed. And
their objectives, like their pathways.
Yeah, there were certain things that you were expected to do, and so therefore I felt like I was constricted in that. So, from a personal level, I think the more openness, the more I am to try to figure out other things. And
this is something you and I have talked about. I was actually reading through all the old tweets because I have them all from every year.
Sorry.
No, actually, it's a great open data set. But you and I go back and forth at the beginning of Seal MOOC each time, where it was like you, I, Terry, a couple other peoples, and we're just pumping out like stuff in the first 2 weeks, and then and I worry, do we scare people off a little bit? And you and I have gone back and forth about how do we build in that apprenticeship early on into these courses, or is it okay to just pump everything out? But it's a tension I have.
Yeah, I still have it too. I think in a lot of ways, and I think I'm back and forth between showing some possibilities, exploring for my own self, right? I know that we do try to balance it with welcoming. Like anybody who posts something immediately gets a response. So
Oh, that's smart.
That they feel like they're not posting into the void. So actually, one of the behind the scenes, and particularly CL MOOC, has always been that there are a group of people who agree that part of what they're going to do is anytime someone posts something, we're going to make sure we respond. And I think that, that's huge.
Yeah.
I think particularly in the open learning space, if you feel like you're posting something and nobody's reading it or nobody is reacting, the chance of you hanging out and keep going is pretty slim. We all know that by the end of any open learning space, right, the numbers usually decrease. pretty considerably.
Well, I was just out of Walk My World, the last run. We had, we probably had 400 people involved, but I think 15 people submitted like the entire, like, here's my portfolio of everything. Out of, and I also, like, I'm wondering back and forth, like, is there a role for bots here? Like, when we talk about those little, like, I know I'm actually, most of the people in the open ed movement are like, that auto scoring bot is like, those are bad words, but I'm seeing, like, I think there could be some roles like doing this kind of, when you have hundreds and hundreds of people in there, having some kind of AI that could look for patterns quickly, or have a bot that looks pretty, that can do those welcoming messages that people, it's good to have actual human contact, but I don't know, that's just I'm thinking about the future of these courses, and it seems more like the chat stream seems to be like, I don't want to say the word LMS, but like, CL MOOC, for those who don't know, use Google, is probably one of the few people left using Google Plus still. DS106 is pretty Twitter driven, as they're kind of, so there always seems to be some kind of stream. And so I wonder if bots will ever fit in that. But, I'm here to talk about
I mean, maybe one that surfaces, as you said, like themes or connections, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. I guess I'm not sure about like a welcome kind of bot.
Yeah, because you want that human touch.
To, say, like, hey, your make was similar to this person's make, you should connect, right?
Exact, things like that, yeah.
And that'd be kind of cool, I think, because then maybe that idea of finding connector points might be a kind of neat way to think about that AI kind of algorithm.
Nice. Well,
You're working on that, will you?
Yeah, no, well, there's this complex, and all right. So, kind of the last question. You're kind of known as the comic guy. For those who don't know, Kevin, across all the courses, he pumps out little cute stick figure they're more involved in stick figure comics, but that's probably a good way to put it. When did you start doing those? Have you ever found your first one?
No. Let's see. So, a number of years ago, I was doing a webcomic for the website of our local regional paper, the Springfield Republican, poking fun at teaching and education and technology, because I was just curious about the format of how to make comics, and then I just evolved over time. I think that for me, it's just a kind of quick way to kind of distill. I try to distill other people's writings, and then kind of format them, refocus them, into a comic in a lot of ways, and trying to poke fun but not making fun, I guess is a good way to think about it. But I think sometimes it's a different way to surface ideas too, and because it's visual, it can catch people's attention, and it's just a kind of different kind of formatting. I think that we don't see a lot in these kind of spaces for whatever reason.
Nice.
And yet our kids are probably making a lot of them.
Yeah, how does this translate into your everyday teaching practice? What do you take any of these lessons from these open MOOCs, and can you get them to any of these lessons to translate into actual classroom practice?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that, and for me, it's been a slow progress, but the whole underlying connected learning theories that inform a lot, actually, I mean, certainly the CL MOOC, but some of the other spaces as well. I've been trying to kind of think about that in terms of my classroom a lot. So, when I started doing our video game design unit, I really started thinking about, allowing students to pursue their, things that they want to do, but also in real kind of literacy moments that then lead to authentic publishing and collaboration with others. And so I think a lot of those philosophies in different projects kind of come to light more than others. Not everything that I do kind of translates into things that I can do with my students, but we've done a lot of comic stuff for sure,
Yeah.
because a lot of kids really love that. And actually this year, the site that we've used for many years kind of is now dead in the water, and so
What site was that?
it was Bit Strips for Schools.
Oh yeah, Bitstrips is done.
Yeah, they're done.
Oh no,
They killed it over the summer. And for me, every year that would be the whole beginning of the year. I did all these kind of different lessons around that. That was really kind of neat. So, but that's the nature too, as we know. Of,
things go away.
Online sites, yeah, things go away. And I think not everything gets pulled in the classroom, but part of it is as a teacher exploring different things and seeing the potential for writing and reading and connecting in the classroom.
Nice. Well, I do want to thank you for your 15 minutes of time today. And I do want to let you know that this is part of an open research project. This data will be available to everybody, and I hope you consent to that.
Yes, I do.
And if you want, I've shared the draft of the paper with you, so you're welcome to go in. I'm going to put this video on YouTube and then on Biologs. You're welcome to either annotate that or just, it's a rhizomatic paper. If you want to hop in and start writing it, so I don't have to. I know I'm just kidding, but it is open in draft form and will be published in. I'm thinking about throwing it on somewhere, but it will be there for you, and I won't quote you without any direct permission. So you might get an email or two saying, "Hey, I like this little snippet here." So I'll throw this on my YouTube channel and send you all the links. Thank you so much. For those who don't know, Kevin, he's at Dog Tracks on the Twitter machine, and he is awesome. He's inspired me. Been one of the leaders that have really taught me much of what I know, and it's one of the teachers that I try to inspire to be. So thank you, Kevin. I'll talk to you soon.
Great. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.